Hey y'all, I'm back. So it is Friday afternoon. I'm shooting this video. Excuse the hair. I'm just in some kind of funky mood. Anyways, wanted to talk to you about a few things just to catch you up. So we took exam 2 this week, which is why I haven't really responded to many of you guys' messages. And I know that you understand. So thank you for understanding. I did pass. I made another B, but it was much better, way much better experience than last time. And speaking of last time, let's talk about what happened during exam 1. So my daughter ends up catching pink eye from a sinus infection, and so they called me during clinical to come and get her. My sister came and got her, thank God, and took her to the doctor. He gave her some medicine, said everything's gonna be fine, wrote a prescription for her to come back to school. I went to drop her off at school. On exam day, I had to explain everything in great detail to daycare director, and so needless to say, I was late. Our exam starts at 8:30. We're supposed to be at like 8:20. I got there like 8:45, 8:50. So I get there, they're like, "It's okay, just breathe. It's gonna be okay, just breathe." And so I get to my seat, and one of my instructors, she's so sweet, she came and rubbed me on my back, and like all the tears just came out. So if you don't know anything about me, I'm a crybaby. I will cry for good, for bad, for angry. I will just cry. So I was like, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And she was like, "Yeah." So I went to the bathroom. I washed my face. I got some paper towel from the bathroom, and I plugged my ears. I was like, I got to drown out all this noise. I get distracted very easily. So I said, okay, let me sit down. So I sat down, and I was rolling through questions, and I was like, okay, not bad. And then, I don't know, it's like sometime during the part of the exam, it's not that I get bored, but I'm kind of am. Like, I'm bored with answering questions. And so I just start to... I don't doze off, but I'm just kind of like very distracted with nothing. And so I started writing down questions that I thought like I just flew through. And so I get to the end of the exam. I had, pretty decent amount of time left. And so I go back, and all the questions I wrote down, I went back and look at those questions. And most of them I changed my answer because I was like, nah, that doesn't sound right. So I changed my answer for whatever reason. Get my score back. Oh, God help me. So, like, I passed, but it was, like, barely. And I was like, so just in case you don't know, you have to make a 75. And I had, like, a 78. And if you don't know my struggle with the grades, you should have known the kind of anxiety. I have not made a grade like that since 2008, 7, 6. It's been forever. So all the red alarms are just, I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, I went back, and this is what I discovered. So my first thought is, okay, Charlene, did you not know the information, or, what happened? Lo and behold, those questions that I wrote down that I went back and changed the answer, there were 7 of them. I had the right answer the first time. Yeah, so I was like, stupid. Oh, I came down on myself hard. So, okay, so then what we do after we take our exam is we do what's called tier testing. And so they put us in a group of 3 people, and one of us we have to upload the computer on our exam. And so we all take it together as a group, and we get a group grade. And that grade can add points to your exam grade, to each of our exam grade. So based on how we score, you can either get 3 points, 2 points, or 1 point. In order to get even 1 point, you have to make an 84 on the exam total. So in order to get, 2 or 3, there's a bar, there's a cutoff. So my group ended up getting 2 points. So that put me at an 80. And I went and talked to my one of my teachers, and she was like, "What happened?" And I told her, the whole thing about my kid, and she was like, "Okay, I'll take that." And I was like, "Thank God." So, lesson number 1, make sure you have everything ready and prepared. I did drop my daughter off in time, but the conversation took almost 30 minutes. So maybe on exam day, try to get to school 30 minutes earlier than the time you're supposed to be there, and just to kind of avoid those things. You never know what's going to happen with traffic. You never know what's going to happen in general. So that was a lesson learned for me. This time I was there almost an hour early. I was there almost an hour early, sitting in my car answering questions. So exam 2, I did, now that I had an idea of how to study, how I should study the notes, and how I should incorporate the book with my notes. I had, a better take on things. I was actually finished with my notes and working on questions at least 3 or 4 days before the exam. So I was able to really sit and go through and answer these questions. And a good friend of mine, she told me, once you need to answer questions because it kind of adjusts your mind to thinking the way that they want you to think in those style questions. And people say select all that apply the death of them, and I do understand. I do understand because you don't get partial credit. So if there's like 4 of the 6 choices, you don't get 4 points of credit out of the 6. You miss the whole entire thing. And so that was a struggle for me. It's getting better though. And so this exam, I made an 87, and I did change my, don't judge me. I did change my answer, but it was only for 3 questions. And the other questions I missed, it wasn't that I changed my mind. It was, I knew the answer, but I kept thinking, well, no, my teacher said this. Like my gut said, this is the answer. But I kept telling myself, well, no, she said this or she said that. And so I changed my response, and I shouldn't have. And so once again, it's not that I didn't know the content, it was this up here. So this is what I'm working with. And I think answering questions helps with that as well, because in my group, hey y'all, if you ever watch a video of mine, I'm talking to my group people. I love y'all so much. They help so much because I was in an exam and I was like, nope, such and such said this, and that was the correct answer. Or, you just remember conversations you had where you remember their way of explaining things. And so it really does help. I was never a group study person. Actually, none of us were group study people. We were all people who go to class, get your notes, leave, go home, and you study. Every single one of us. And so now we're all somehow bunched together. We all bring something different to the table. I love every single one of them. They are like my sisters, and I will fight for them like to the core. So it was just really nice having that experience and being able to pull back from that. So we all passed. We all did well. Of course, we're all pushing for that A because we know that we're capable. And a lot of times our problem is either we change our first answer or we say, no, the teacher said this, trying to, make sure we go off what that says and ignoring that inner person. So guys, if you have that struggle, please don't do it. Trust yourself, trust your instincts, trust your gut. If you studied, if you applied and you put in the work, trust that, okay? And go with it. Last exam. So we had exam 2, that was on Tuesday. Wednesday, we had our dosage qualifying exam. So on this exam, you have to make a 90% or you don't qualify, basically. You do have 3 other chances to take it after that, and if you don't pass after those 3 chances, you have to withdraw from the program. I think everybody passed. I think. I could be wrong though. I'll find out probably on Monday. But anyways, so for me, I've actually, on all the dosage quizzes we've taken, I've made 100 on all of them. I actually like math, and I actually like the math that we do with this course. And so I don't know why, but just listening to other people, I allowed it to kind of build up this pressure, and it became this monster. It became this monster. What I mean by that is, like, if you take the quizzes and they're simple for you and it's something that you understand and you've done fairly well, why would you stress over the qualifying exam, which is basically the quiz times 2. So our quizzes are usually about 10 questions and our qualifying was 20 questions. And we had an hour to take it, which is more than enough time. I always have extra time. And so just listening to people and talk about stuff that they didn't know. And, you catch like a part of the conversation. It's like, okay, wait, what? We're supposed to know what? And when reality is just, that's where they were, but I wasn't there. Or not even just me, but other people. We weren't there. We were good with our dosage. We were good with what we knew. But just having all this chaos of other people's concerns caused us to kind of panic a little bit. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I should do some questions. So I took my dosage book and I went through and I just worked on, I tried to do at least 5 questions from each category that we've covered. So I get to the exam, I sat down and I just went at it. I still had like 45 minutes left when I was done. I was like, crap, let me go back. So I always go back. I go back to check. I always go back and check twice. This is why. The first time I go back and I look for naked zeros or trailing zeros. She will count your answer incorrect if you put that on there. So that's the first thing I go back and check. I go back to check for trailing zeros and naked zeros. And I go back and check for my units of measurement. So making sure if they ask for milliliters, my answer's in milliliters. And you have to put it in there. You have to put the abbreviation for the unit of measurement in your response. And so that's the first time I go through and I check. I check for those things and I check for my units. The second time I go back to ask myself, does my response make sense? If the patient is supposed to receive this amount of medicine according to this order, did the answer I gave make sense? Like, or is it like way up there, or is it not enough? And so that's what I usually go back and ask myself. So even doing that, I still had like 36 minutes left. You know, I went back and checked it a third time, and after that, I was like, okay, yeah, I can't do anything else. So I went ahead and turned everything in. And so, of course, everybody wants to talk about the exam after the exam. And so everybody's like, oh, I put this and I put that. And I'm like, and they're so sure, you know, like, no, because it said such and such and such and such, and you're supposed to do this. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I didn't get that. You ever seen that meme where people are like, one person's saying their answer was 44, the other was 45, and I put South Africa. Like, that's how I felt. That's how I felt. Like, what the frick are you people talking about? I didn't have that at all. So, needless to say, I was very, very, very nervous and anxious, and I'm like, oh God, I didn't pass. I'm gonna have to retake it. And so when grades came out, we were studying. Yes, we study after exams. When grades came out, we were studying in the group. And so we were all just, you know, engrossed. And then it's like, bloop, bloop, on the phone. And I'm like, oh, dear God. Like, I'm not ready. So my anxiety is like through the roof. And so I checked and I actually made 100. Oh, thank God. All praises due to God. Yes. And so all my girls passed. We were good. We were like, okay, on to the next thing. So, and that's really how it is. Honestly, you grind your butt off. You take an exam. My next exam is the week after spring break, which seems like it's March 23rd. It seems like it's kind of far away, but really it's not. Next week, we have a very, very busy week. It's also my birthday next week. Yay! The 29th. We turned 33. Oh, God, help. Anyways, so it's that week, and then you have the week of spring break. So yeah, for spring break, I won't be jamming it out. I may get to sleep in a little bit, but basically I'll be studying. I have a paper to write for my daycare observation, and among some other things. I need to apply for some scholarships because girl needs coins. So anyways, I just wanted to update y'all on my exams. I actually have some other stuff I want to talk about, but I want to put it on a different video because I don't want to like overcrowd the video. So I'm going to end this video here. Please keep me in your prayers. My exam scores are going up. It is something I am personally dealing with because I have not made a B, let alone a C, in almost 10 years. And so that has really been a struggle for me. Sometimes you never know how it's gonna go. So I want you to be encouraged. My grades are improving, so that's good. Everything else, every other area I have an A in. Like all my assignments, all my other stuff I'm supposed to submit, I have a perfect score in. So I'm just hoping and praying to God that in the end it all comes out in the wash and I still end up with an A for the course. And so I just know I have 3 more exams left, and I have to really make sure that I don't second guess myself, that I trust my heart and my gut, and I go with what I know, because I study every single day. Every single day I'm studying something. It's not a day that goes by where I'm not picking up something or doing something. So be encouraged. Thank y'all for watching. I do have a lot of announcements, so pay attention to the next video. Pay attention to the next video. Please stay tuned. I love you guys. If you're new, welcome. Please subscribe. If you've been riding with me since day one, I thank you. I really, really do. I do have a giveaway coming up. It's a little loopy. I do have a giveaway coming up. And I got a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get going.